Alright. We got B-Ball Breakdown, aka Coach Nick. Did Russell Westbrook get Mike Malone fired? No one player's gonna get a coach fired, man. I don't believe that shit, man. That's not true. No, how one player's gonna get a coach fired? No. That's not true. The only way that's possible if the best player on the team or best player in the NBA say, I want my coach fired, and the organization actually listens to him. No. Allen Iverson said he wanted his coach fired. They ain't listen to him. I don't believe this, bro. Not one player could say, oh, I want him fired. No. Owners don't even want to give them the contracts they deserve. What makes you think they're gonna listen to the player when they want a coach fired? What do you do?
If we needed any more proof that this NBA season is certifiably nuts, then the firing of Mike Malone with 3 games left in the regular season is the last straw. And to fire the general manager at the same time
they fired the GM, sorry.
Dysfunction in both the front office and the locker room. From a basketball perspective, why would a coach get fired when just a week ago his team was 3rd in the Western Conference, led by a player who's having arguably the greatest season of all time? After all, it was Malone who noticed a weak-looking and slow 20-year-old Serbian center and decided to make him the starter for the second half of his rookie year, propelling Nikola Jokic into the pantheon of all-time greats a few years later. And it was Malone who devised an offense to fit around this incredible and low-maintenance star, reinvigorating high-post offense that we've seen profoundly influence teams for the last decade. And this all culminated in a trouncing of the competition, losing only 4 games en route to a title not even 2 years ago. But the dynamics between GM Calvin Booth and Malone were terrible.
I gave an example of bringing in a shooting coach of, hey, this is our guy. We need to get better at shooting. Shooting's such a big part of it. Put him in the gym. Mike Malone said, I don't hire that guy. You hired him. That's not my guy, and I'm the coach.
It even sounded like Malone was concerned that the shooting coach was a spy for the front office, and that's really no way to run a franchise.
Everyone knew the tension, and I think it was not a happy place to work.
These decisions aren't made lightly or quickly, and we can look back to a mid-March game against the Portland Trail Blazers that signaled the beginning of the end.
That was embarrassing. That was just a joke. Who are we kidding? 11 games to go, and that's the effort we put forth. You know, I'm embarrassed by that game and our approach and how we played.
If it was true that Malone had lost the locker room, then it means he's coaching them to do certain things, and they're not doing it. And Malone wasn't shy about calling them out publicly for a few specific things.
And they just kicked our butts on the offensive glass. And then we give up 25 points off our turnovers. So we get 51 points. 51 points off of rebounds and turnovers.
The Nuggets give up the 6th most offensive rebounds per game, and taking the 3rd best rebounder off the floor would naturally cause issues, but it means they have to rely on Michael Porter Jr., who is definitely a target of Malone's ire. Often, he just won't get into the mix as he backs out of the way and allows Denny Avdia to knock the ball to its the ball with their eyes the whole shot. They also need to be feeling for an offensive player and commanding good position in front of them.
Damn!
MPJ is totally
MPJ box out! Put your ass on somebody. I know that sounds wrong, but what you gotta do to win? He's a champ, you know this.
In front of them, MPJ is totally ineffective here. We should give Jamal Murray a little break since he had just gotten back after a 2-game absence, but he's got to be more aggressive on this one. Same here. If you're going to walk down to the rim, you better ferociously grab that ball with 2 hands out of the air. If we're going to look at turnovers from this game, you don't have to look too far to figure out who Malone was upset with, considering Russell Westbrook committed 9 of the 20 total miscues, and you might want to avert your eyes if you get Westbrook committed
No! No!
committed 9 of the 20 total miscues.
But see what he did next game, though. See what he did next game. Because Russ, he's the type of player to bounce back after a bad game. See what he did next game.
And you might want to avert your eyes if you get motion sickness. Russ can equally astound you with turnovers that happen off the dribble as he isolates and just bounces it off his foot, or by propelling the ball in the air via a pass that ends up way off target. In fact, Russ could very well lead the league in passes thrown out of bounds, typically by getting stuck up in the air. Remember, I'm a coach, and I see the game through that lens, and to see a professional guard consistently get going too fast, get caught in the air too often, and literally deposit the basketball into the hands of a fan have got to make you think this was a primary reason for their struggles, especially if he's going to light them up like this both publicly and privately.
I don't know what our guys are thinking. It's not my job to evaluate how they take things. My job is to be honest, and sometimes brutally honest. And tonight, it was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. So we'll have to show them the film. And I said, if somebody disagrees with me, please speak up. And nobody said a word.
The fact that nobody spoke up speaks volumes, as a team with solid leadership would definitely have someone say something in response to Malone's critique, usually to back up the coach and implore his teammates to focus up. As for who he was talking about that doesn't watch film, based on how he plays, I'd imagine Russ was one of those guys. I also have to imagine Malone has tried to get Westbrook to stop going so quickly and being so aggressive, since it disrupts everyone's rhythm.
I'm going so quickly and being so, what the hell? You gotta understand who you talking to. Stop being aggressive. Stop going so quickly. Stop being aggressive. What? Bro, this is what made him a Hall of Famer. Stop it. Stop it. This is what cemented his legacy right here. Stop.
So much.
Stop it, man.
It appears Russ will simply not listen, but hopefully you'll listen.
Why y'all think that? Why y'all think that about Russ? He don't listen to his coaches. What makes y'all think that? Every player makes mistakes. Y'all just highlight Russ mistakes. No, it's not right, Coach nigga. I disagree with you. I'm finna turn to Jay Butler in Minnesota, bro, and in Philly. Damn, that's not right. Every player makes mistakes.
$5 line.
Nobody's ever played a perfect game in the history of nobody ever played a perfect game.
One of the biggest differences in terms of stats from last year to this
What the hell, Russ? Shoot the ball. What the hell?
Turnover percentage, as they've gone from 9th to 16th. I could easily see Malone getting in Russ's face after some of these, even though I have to admit some of them are so outrageous that they make me laugh out loud. But it could easily lead to a locker room issue. To make matters worse, Russ has struggled so mightily in the post that you have to imagine by this point
Butterfingers.
Malone was telling him to cut it out, and he continued to post up anyway. Of the 62 players who have posted up at least 30 times this year,
you don't got
Russ
proof, Coach Nick. You don't got proof.
And turns it over.
And Michael Malone yelling at Russell Westbrook. Where's the proof? I need to see it. Clear cut evidence. Clear as day. Clear as the crystal sun.
Vibe that Russ teams tend to have, and it's kind of captured in a play like this, where he threw a terrible pass, which again ended up out of bounds, but then proceeds to blame the referee for it, which is simply
you wasn't watching.
A bad look when everyone in the arena knows who was responsible. And for a low-key guy like Jokic, I wonder how that affects how he plays. And of course, in the midst of the unraveling of the season, we got an epic finish to what could have been the greatest display of offensive box score output in the history of the game, Jokic's 60-point triple-double, in which they battled in a playoff atmosphere and wrestled the game from the Timberwolves, putting themselves on the precipice of a huge double overtime win with gigantic playoff implications. We got another example of what are just astoundingly bad turnovers when, to start the first overtime, he fumbles his dribble after touching it with both hands. That means he can retrieve the ball, but even a high schooler knows you cannot dribble it again. And it truly appears like he either doesn't know the rule or he didn't realize what he did.
No, some people don't know that rule either. They gave Giannis 11 seconds to the free throw line. Even in high school, no, you only had 10 seconds to shoot the free throw, but they gave Giannis all the time in the world. What did he do? No, not everyone knows that rule. Not everyone knows that rule. Even dudes in rec league know that you got 10 seconds to shoot your free throw. No, they said the rec coaches even tell you, you got 10 seconds to shoot your free throw. Take your time. But Giannis, he takes 20 seconds. No one says nothing to him. No. I'm not going for none of this, bro. Russ ain't do nothing wrong. No one player can get a coach fired. I don't believe it.
Accountable enough for plays like this, and when you see how unstable he makes the game with these types of plays, it's no wonder Calvin.
Bro, everyone makes those type of. Everyone makes passes like that. Every once in a while. You act like he does this every possession. Damn.
Feuded with Mike Malone over playing a guy like Jalen Pickett more. Pickett is a solid player who can shoot the ball well and will play within himself, and as a 25-year-old second-year player, understands how to limit mistakes and play within the flow. To his credit, Malone started tinkering with the lineups, keeping Russ on the bench to start the game recently, and they had won 3 of 4 by limiting Russ's minutes heading into this game versus the Wolves, which culminated in another nail in Malone's coffin when Westbrook single-handedly lost this game for the Nuggets.
Yeah, bro, this is a bad mistake right here, Russ. This is a bad mistake right here. He knows it. He knows it. You should have just kept dribbling the ball. You should have just kept dribbling the ball. Gave it to Jokic. Jokic was on his way up the court. Because y'all were up by 1. I see if y'all were losing, then yeah, make the layup. But y'all won, so just dribble out the clock. He made the mistake. Okay, it's a mistake he made.
Clock since the Nuggets had the lead. Russ barrels towards the basket and was going too fast.
Loki got fouled by Old Man Conley, but it's okay.
And blows
that's okay.
the layup. And to make matters
yeah, we gotta get back on defense, right? You gotta hustle back on defense. Yeah, you know that. You miss a layup, you gotta hustle back.
And when he does get back,
you hustle. You miss a shot, you gotta hustle back. Come on, I ain't paused the video.
He commits a
Coach Nick controlling my video.
A terrible angle to contest the shot, which cost them the game.
Bro, back up!
When you have Fios from Verizon, you can save.
You talking about Verizon, Coach Nick? I know you have Verizon. All right.
And the very next game, he blows another open court layup in a close game deep in the 4th quarter. And the point of all this isn't to just point out Russ's individual issues, it's to show that these types of plays are disruptive to an excellent team used to winning a lot. And clearly Malone was fired because they hadn't won enough games. David Adelman took over last night and not off the bench, but went away from him as soon as Russ became erratic, something Malone was reluctant to do, and apparently a source of anger.
Coach Lou did that. Ty Lue did that. Let's take Russ out the game when he get calmed down. He told him that too. He said, when Russ is doing too much, I let him know he's doing too much. I let him know that. When Russ does not doing enough, I let him know he ain't doing enough. I can tell him when to turn it up and turn it down. Okay? You can kind of micromanage that as a coach. You see Russ doing something, take him out, tell him you're doing too much. Then put him back in. Then he'll be straight. That's all you got to do. Ty Lue did that. Ty Lue did that. He took him out in the 4th quarter. He ain't have to play clutch minutes. Problem solved.
The team. I can only imagine that Jokic, one of the smartest players in the league, would have trouble with suboptimal plays where the coach wouldn't correct or curtail those minutes. Russ didn't get his normal run at the end of the 2nd quarter because of a flurry of problematic decisions, like this drive and forced lob that wasn't open. And then he attacks in transition with a large Euro step where he's got to jump off the right foot and shoot it off the right hand under duress, which doesn't get near the rim. He then continues his streak of including the fans in the game with this wild left-handed attempt to get it to a player who wasn't cutting to the basket. Here's one that would upset Jokic, no doubt, as they get a severe mismatch in the post. And instead of clearing the side to let him cook, Russ brings his man, the only guy big enough to offer resistance to Jokic, right into the play and helps influence the miss. To make matters worse, he rushes the rebound. Whatever this is,
it's a foul.
The refs will bail him out.
That's a foul.
His night was going to come to an abrupt end before his play would allow the Kings to get any closer, as he fires another backdoor pass at the cutter's feet and into the stands. Next up was the pick and roll with DeAndre Jordan and trying to force it into him. This pass is simply thrown too hard for any.
That's a damn catchable ball, bro. Hit his hand. Hit his hand. Catch the ball.
Pick and roll with DeAndre Jordan.
It's not the best pass, but it's catchable. That makes sense.
Into him. This pass is simply
thrown it got to. He stuck his hand out. Accorded. He stuck his hand out, touched the ball.
He opts for a silly Dirk.
Yeah, and he threw that all the way up to the Madagascar.
And then continues his deep struggles at finishing around the rim. And Adelman promptly takes him out when the Kings put the outcome in doubt, which allowed the Nuggets to stabilize and take control of the game.
Just do that. Just do that. When Russ not playing good, take him out. And I don't know why is it so difficult. If you see that's for any player. If you see a player not playing good, take him out.
For the win.
Unless he's like Jokic or LeBron or Giannis or KD or something like that. The dudes that can turn it up any second. Keep him in the game. But you know, if he's one of those dudes that don't turn it up, and you know he's he's not playing his best game, take him out. Sit him on the bench. The coach did it to LaMelo earlier in the season. He sat him on the bench during the clutch.
When replacing a very solid player who doesn't try to do too much and won't commit turnovers like this, it's not surprising that they could go from 57 wins last year with KCP to under 50 this season. And if it also led to either more confrontations by Malone in order to get better play, or frustration at the lack of accountability with these mistakes, which then in turn led to him losing the locker room, then we can get a sense of what happened this season to turn a championship coach into a guy sitting on the couch waiting for the phone to ring in less than 2 short years.
With all that being said, it's not Russ' fault. Legacy already cemented.